Catriona, thank you very much indeed for that very warm welcome, and it is good to see so many people here. Many of you I've met elsewhere, not rather than in London, in different communities up and down the country, but it is great to be here in Lambeth Palace, especially on such a pleasant day, and it was really good fun to run across the green. Actually, we walked quickly rather than ran. It is really, really very good to be here, and it's great to see so many people here, which is a signal of the success, and the success that we should really shout about. We really do need the media to pay more attention to some of the great stuff that we're doing. Too often it's difficult to get good news into the newspapers, so goodness knows that's made up for by it's always easy to get the bad news in, as we know, and that's not the way it should be. So thank you for all you're doing. And we do face many important challenges. First of all, in the wake of the dreadful terrorist attacks that we saw just over a week ago in New Zealand, terrorist attacks, murderous attacks on Muslims at prayer. You can't think of anything really much worse than that, and it was barbaric, it was awful, and we must, all of us, be resilient in the face of that. Of course it was an attack on the Muslim community, but it was an attack on all of us as far as I'm concerned. This is something that in a civilised society is unacceptable. All religions have as their basis peace, goodness. What religion could possibly have anything other than that? So to see something like that happening was dreadful, and really, as I say, we all need to learn lessons from that. We all need to react to that, but we also need to take protective measures to make sure it doesn't happen ever again. And I know that much hard work has been done by you and people in religious communities, faith communities up and down the country to stop that happening, and we don't want to be just reacting, though I have to say in the face of that we did two fairly immediate things. One was to revisit the vulnerable places of worship scheme, to put extra funds in, which is much needed, and to alter the rules so that it's no longer necessary that you have to have suffered an attack to apply for funding. That seemed to be absolutely crazy. That's changed. The second thing, which I'm pleased to say, and I've been certainly pushing for it myself for a long while, is that we've got the Anti-Muslim Hatred Working Group, quite a mouthful, working on a definition of Islamophobia, which I think is overdue. And we can all agree, I think, that we need a definition. It doesn't have to be the definition, it doesn't have to be the definition of the all-party parliamentary group, though that will be looked at, but there are other definitions as well, Runnymede Trust, and so on, that we would want to look at as well. But Akila Ahmed, Deputy Kari Asim, and Riaz Rivat from Leicester, and the whole team of people are looking at that issue to come up with proposals, because I think that is important, that we signal as a community that's symbolically important, but it's also important just from the sheer morality of it. So both of those things coming together, so I'm pleased to be able to say that as well. Also in the light of what has happened in Christchurch and more widely, we do need and are looking at the position with regard to social media. We were looking at that anyway, but a report on that is forthcoming shortly to the Department of Culture, Media and Sport and the Home Office are jointly going to be getting a report on that, and I want to be looking at that. We want to be looking at that across government. We want to be drawing on some of the expertise that I know that we have. I see Mick Dadversey here. Congratulations on your profile today in The Guardian, which was excellent to see, but I know there are many people who will be able to contribute to that, and I'm really grateful for that. But also, more widely, and again, Mick Dad will certainly have thoughts on this, as with others, the general position of the media, some of the totally unacceptable reporting of what happened in New Zealand along the lines of, it used to be an angelic choir boy. Quite outrageous. Quite outrageous.
Yes.
And I know we all relish living in a country where we have a free press, but with having a free press there are certain responsibilities attached to that, and I think the media, and particularly the written media, though not exclusively the written media, but particularly the written media, needs some reminder about that. But as I say, it would be good to get, we do occasionally get good stories reported in the media, but we need that on a much more widespread basis. It doesn't just apply to faith, it applies in all sorts of areas. But I've never subscribed to this idea that the populace only wants to read bad news in the newspapers. I don't think that would be true of any of us. And there's up and down, in communities up and down the country, there is so much good happening We all know this, and people will say, oh, in our community things are very good, but it's not like that elsewhere. Well, it almost certainly is. It's a little bit the way people talk about their local hospital and say, well, we're fortunate, our local hospital is very good, but it's not true of other hospitals. It probably is. It's just the way that the media grasps these things. So, forgive me for going off on that, but there are some, as I say, some immediate things that really do need addressing, and they needed addressing quite independently of the awful murderous attacks in Christchurch. But what you do in coming together as a Christian Muslim forum, and what you do through mosque and church twinning, and I know some people are looking at this on a broader front, why do we not have twinning with gurdwaras, with temples, with other places of worship as well? No reason we shouldn't have that. I think that would be a great thing. But thank you for all you're doing. I had the great privilege of going to the Old Kent Road Mosque and seeing the very strong relationships there with the local churches, with St Peter's and St Philip's. Absolutely excellent. And it wasn't just a relationship between faiths, it was a relationship between individuals who'd become friends. I mean, it's both as simple and as difficult as that. And if we're able to crack that and do that across communities, not just with religious elders, as it were, but with everybody, what appeared initially to be a problem. Why does it appear to be a problem? I don't really know. It doesn't seem like a problem anymore. It's not a problem for children. I mean, children are blind to prejudice across religions, across races. That's something that adults have. And so we perhaps need to be able to take a lesson out of their books. But anyway, here we are on the threshold of spring. We should be optimistic about the future. There is much good in this country that we can build upon, and that you are building upon in communities. So thank you very much indeed for that. If I could say that we have some awards to give out, I think, and they're silver awards based on the fact that they're not quite at the top of the tree, so you can still aspire to getting a gold award next year. I've asked Catriona what happens after that. I'm not sure after that. I don't think there's a platinum award yet, but anyway, those that have got silver awards, I think have done fantastic work, and really thank you from me, from the department, from the government, from the country really, essentially, because this is what has built robust and resilient communities, which we have largely in this country, massively in this country. And I remember at the time of the dreadful terrorist attacks we have seen recently, 2 years ago now, in the case of Westminster Bridge, 2 years ago last week. I can remember that, and I can remember Muslim youth coming out and saying, "Not in our name," and being on Westminster Bridge. And you just sensed the country coming together. A dreadful event though that was, dreadful and appalling, but still you saw the resilience there. You saw a similar resilience in Manchester, the arena attacks, and you saw a similar resilience when we had the dreadful terrorist attack on the Finsbury Park Mosque, where the imam there reacted totally appropriately, and where the Jewish community, first community there other than the local Muslims, were the Haredi Jewish community from Stamford Hill. You saw the strength that there is in Britain today, and that's really got to be the recipe, the way that we develop it for the future.